Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Forum YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside David Aragona with producer Bobby helping us out with the preview of the Sunday race of the day. We're going to head on over to Belmont at the Big A, take a look at the field for the Athenia. I want to remind all of you that for every race of the day, you can get free past performances on the website, DRF.com. David, we look at this one, $150,000 up for grabs, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and an eighth on the turf course over at the Big A. I think some of the major players in here, you look towards Whiskey Decision and Moonage Daydream in the middle of the field. They both just seem really well spotted in here. Whiskey Decision got very good last year in a string of races as a 3-year-old filly. She'll be making her third start back now as a 4-year-old. And then you have Moonage Daydream, who's going to go second start off that long layoff. You kind of expect her to take a little step forward off of that one.
Yeah, interesting race for a listed stakes because among the four major contenders, which are probably the 3, 4, 5, and 8, the horse that I've got listed at 4-1 or lower on the morning line, 3 of them are New York breds coming out of that New York bred restricted Yaddo stakes. And then you've got Whiskey Decision, who's kind of going in the opposite class direction. She's dropping out of a graded stakes race. So it's going to be interesting to see how the form stacks up.
See how the Timeform US pace projector has this race setting up. Remember, these are part of the all access pass performances. You can get them individually as part of the Timeform US PPs. So David, they've got spinning colors up front. No surprise that mare wants to show speed, but so does Edict, and she's down on the inside. And she has an aggressive rider in Kendrick Carmouche aboard who likes to hold position and be forwardly placed as often as possible. So I'd imagine those two want to be close, but Moonage Daydream doesn't want to be too far out of it. I wonder sometimes when you see a jockey move like Rosario jumping aboard, if that signals they'll try to be a little bit less forward and maybe sit off a bit with Moonage Daydream. Anything surprise you about the pace here?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if this fast pace flag actually materializes on the racetrack with these horses setting fast fractions, because while you've got the 2 speeds in here, feels like sometimes when you only have 2 speeds in the race, they don't always hook up. And yes, Edict and Spinning Colors have done some of their best running towards the front end. But to me, I kind of agree with the pace projector that Spinning Colors feels like the more confirmed front runner between the two. And Edict's been showing speed and fading in her last couple of starts. So I wonder if they're going to try to change up the tactics with her a little bit and maybe not be so aggressive. It is worth noting that John Velasquez has been the regular rider for both of these speed horses, and he's going to land on Spinning Colors here.
Great point. Let's meet the field for the Athenia. This is going to go as race number 4 at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. We start out with Edict. It was a Group 1 winner in Argentina, David, but this mare is now 0 for 6 in the U.S. Going to get a little bit of class relief in here, dropping out of the Boston Spa. From the inside, will try to do their best to hold that position, but it does seem like Spinning Colors is the quicker of the two, and I think Spinning Colors seems perhaps like they want the lead a little bit more. It wouldn't shock me to see Edict try to sit off the pace. Just a few starts back, the Bogue sitting off didn't result poorly for Edict, actually finishing a pretty good second that day. What do you expect from this one down on the inside?
She's a tough read because she can be a little inconsistent at times, and she is coming off one of the worst performances that she's put forth since coming to North America last time in the Boston Spa, where that was a tougher field, but she really threw in the towel at the quarter pole and had nothing left at the end of that race. If she could get back to that performance that she put forth in the Bogue at the start of this year, when she was the 92 buyer and was right there at the end with subsequent grade 1 winner dynamic pricing, she could beat this field. And it's worth noting that she achieved that career best effort when she rated. She sat off a speed that ran off that day and then came on at the end. So I wonder if the connections might look at her form and try to ride her that way again in here. Maybe it'll have success, but she is a little tough to trust. I do think of the horses that are prices in here, she was the one that I could most easily make a case for.
Yeah, you know that she has the ability in there. She's just not in that best of form right now. So can she wake back up? And another point to add, that career best performance was over this turf course at Belmont at the Big A. So maybe it's a turf course that she likes and she can perk back up a little bit. We move to Lady Firefoot, David. She's only hit the board in one of her last 7, and that was a win in a 4-horse field. She's a 7-year-old mare now. So as they get older, you kind of wonder sometimes if they're maybe moving in the wrong direction. And most of her recent form is longer and against maybe a little tougher. You see her in some graded stake spots. She was just another tricky read for me with not some of the best recent form.
I actually do think this 7-year-old mare is a little underrated. She's been in some of the wrong spots recently. She's gotten more than her fair share of less than ideal trips. She was actually a crazy overlay when she won that race, when she finally dropped into allowance company 3 back at Aqueduct. But since then, Gino, I agree. Her form, it hasn't really gone in the right direction. And I just don't know if she's truly a stakes horse at this level. So I think she might need softer company.
Spinning Colors is quick. She'll be forwardly placed and just in really nice form right now. She's won 5 of 16 career starts, a New York bred stakes winner. Had to work a little bit early to clear off, but did open up by 2 lengths in that race that we have a lot of the same rivals coming out of in the Yotto. And I thought that this horse did fight hard after being headed to. Just really honest, David. And, there are 3 or 4 horses in here on paper who don't look like they're that far away from each other, pretty evenly matched. I think she's one of them. If she got the right trip, wouldn't shock me at all to see her in the winner's circle.
She's just really improved since coming back for her 2025 campaign. I mean, she won the Mountain Vernon in a bit of an upset, but she's proven in 2 subsequent starts that was no fluke. And she ran really well, too, back in the De La Rose, where I know that was a restricted race, but she was facing open company or not New York breds that day. And the winner, Ozara, came right back to win the Boston Spa on her next start. And Spinning Colors gave her all she could handle that day. And, last time out, she did save ground most of the way, setting the pace, but I thought that was at least an honest pace for the distance. And she never threw in the towel. She really battled back all the way to the wire. So I don't mind her going the mile and an eighth. And I think there is a chance that she could get loose up front.
Whiskey Decision, next one up. Grade 3 winner. She got really good last year as a 3-year-old filly. Then in her first start as a 4-year-old, she wins the Eatontown at Monmouth Park. I believe you had her picked right on top that day when she was about 4-1 and 1. And she came back in the Boston Spa in her next start. It was okay. She was back to last early on. She's about 4 or 5 lengths off. She angled out in the early stretch. I did just think it was okay behind Ozara, who was winning the 2nd consecutive race for Ozara. Ozara just seems to really like Saratoga as well. Looks like she'll get a little pace to run at. Like, she fits well in here, David. She's just not really an exciting prospect from a gambling standpoint for a horse who's going to take a lot of money here.
Yeah, she's getting some class relief. That Boston Spa was certainly a tougher race than this one. I just wanted to see her do some more running in that race. I mean, I liked her seasonal debut when she won the Eatontown. It felt like she had taken a step forward switching into the Chad Brown barn, but she just failed to carry that momentum forward last time because she got the right setup and was just kind of dull all the way through the stretch. And she was inconsistent last year. She tailed off at the end of the season. I just wonder if maybe she's not heading in the right direction at this point and going out for the connections that she does. Chad Brown with Flavien Prat taking over the mound. She probably is going to take money here, and I didn't want to settle for a short price on her.
We move to Moonage Daydream. This one is a 5-year-old mare, New York bred stakes winner. Joel is up, and you wonder when you get Joel Rosario to jump aboard. Sometimes you think coming from off the pace, but I will tell you, as someone who watched Joel many times in Southern California, he's a very good speed rider too. I think sometimes we sort of just assume he's going to take horses back, but if he gets going out of the gate, he can absolutely finish and get horses to relax up front. It just looks like this horse is really good on paper, David. She loves Aqueduct. She's going to make her 2nd start back after a 10-month break. She ran just like you would expect a horse coming off a 10-month break. She was involved in the race. She just tired late. Just lots of positives for her. She could sit a nice trip, maybe 3rd or 4th, just behind the early speed. She's kind of versatile. She will probably be a short price in here, but she just seems like a major contender.
Yeah, she's very logical for all the reasons that you mentioned. Of the 3 horses coming out of the Yaddo, she's the one that you probably would expect to step forward from because she's second off that long layoff, and she might have needed that race last time. And Jorge Abreu, her trainer, does have good numbers. When you look them up in Formulator, second off a layoff on the turf, he's winning at 25% with a $2.79 ROI. So it would be no surprise if she comes back and improves on that performance here. I guess my one concern with her, Gino, is the 9 furlongs, because I know she won going this far last year in the John Hettinger. She got to set a glacial pace that day and still just barely held on at the end. And she is a horse that started out her career as a turf sprinter. So I wonder how far she really wants to go. But with that foundation under her belt and the race that she got into her last time, she does make a lot of sense in here.
Winning at a mile and an eighth when you're loose on the lead under slow fractions, much different than if you're trying to sit off the pace, right, and come and
Totally.
get them. So really different circumstances there. Don't want to take too short of a price on Moonage Daydream. Flowers, for me, actually had some decent form going long back in 2023. This horse is kind of a wild card, David, because she doesn't have any speed figures that are close enough to compete with this group.
Yeah.
But there were some races earlier on in her career going along on the turf that you could look to, and you could understand why they will stretch her back out. She's going to go third start off the long layoff. I wouldn't be shocked to see her run okay in here. And I'd actually like her going longer. I just don't know about her against this group at this moment. It just feels like basically everybody in this field is probably a little more accomplished than her, probably a little bit better on paper. But I actually think for her individually, this is a decent spot stretching back out.
I get the argument for her having some upside coming into this race, just given the long layoff that she had and the routine improvement you'd expect from a horse that actually showed some ability during her 2-year-old season. And even going back to watch that Chelsea Flower, where she was sixth over this course as a 2-year-old, the horse that was right ahead of her at the wire in fifth place was Awesome Czech, who has since improved by leaps and bounds and gotten 20 to 30 buyer points faster. Now, it remains to be seen if Flowers, for me, has improved at the same rate because she's been off for so much time. And I don't love the field that she's exiting and stretching out from 5.5 to 9 furlongs is a lot to ask from a horse. So this probably isn't the right spot for her, but she's one to maybe keep an eye on for when she gets some class relief next time.
Dreaming of Abba will make her third start of the form cycle. She comes off a third place finish in the Violet over at Monmouth Park. She was inside third. She's about a length and a half off, tucked in. She angled around at the top of the lane. Just really wasn't moving as well as the winner, Breathaway, who is sort of at this level. Breathaway is one of those horses who's like a grade 3 to maybe like a listed stakes winner type horse. So how do you think Dreaming of Abba stacks up with this group?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that both horses that finished ahead of her last time in the Violet at Monmouth would be at least fringe players in this race. I mean, they would fit against this field, and Dreaming of Abba is going to be a pretty big price in here. She just hasn't ever really run a single race that makes me want to bet her in this spot. As you said, just like in the last race, I mean, she got there. She wasn't really finishing at a rate that made you believe that she was ever going to beat those horses. She's just the type that picks up pieces, and maybe she can do that here at a price, but on the win end, I had trouble making a case for her.
We round out the body of the field with another New York bred stakes winner. Awesome Czech is a multiple New York bred stakes winner and in very nice form right now. And if you just are looking at her last 2 races on paper, David, she really showed some versatility in those 2 wins. She's on the lead winning, going a mile, 2 starts back under solid, honest fractions. It wasn't like she just got the lead and they were crawling that day. And then most recently, she was a little flat-footed at the start, and that kind of caught her from behind, and she had to come from off the pace there. So if you're looking at those 2 races and just showing the different ways that she can win races, I think she's very, very honest. I think she fits pretty well with this group. What kind of trip do you think is the best trip for her? Do you think they want to kind of grab a hold and just take one late run with her?
I think they've got to from this post position because she's shown the versatility to pass horses. I mean, she's gone to the lead in the past, but I just don't think she's quick enough to clear a horse like Spinning Colors. And we're taking a look at the replay of the Yaddo Stakes where those 3 horses that hit the wire together, they're all coming back in this spot. And that is Awesome Czech in those black and white silks on the outside, who was running past both Spinning Colors and Moonage Daydream inside of her. They all got good trips in that race. You know, when you watch the middle portions of that race, they were just kind of in a line, riding the rail every step of the way. And Awesome Czech was third in that line, and she made the final move to run past those 2 rivals in the lane there. So it was a good trip. I do think she's gotten pretty good trips in most of her recent starts, but she's also improved through all of her 4-year-old campaign. So I like the trajectory she's coming into this race on. I just wonder if she's going to be as fortunate here. And the other point I'll make about her is when you pick through her form, she always runs really well up in Saratoga. She's actually 4 for 5 on the turf in Saratoga and 1 for 11 everywhere else. So I do wonder a little bit if she's going to carry that form back downstate.
Well, we round out the field here and we will move to selections. David, reminder to everyone, Sunday race of the day. You can get free past performances on the website, DRF.com. Who are you going to put on top in here?
The more I looked at this race, I could just envision a scenario where Edict doesn't go as aggressively and Spinning Colors just gets her preferred trip, setting a comfortable pace on the front end. She's got to get the 9 furlongs, but I think she's going to be a fair price because she's not a horse that always gets respect from the bettors despite her solid form. So I put her on top.
For David, 3-5-1-8. I'm going to go with Moonage Daydream on top. What's nice is I think whatever the pace scenario is in here, she can kind of adapt to it. If they're not going that fast early, she can be sitting close. If they do go quick and we get Edict and Spinning Colors hooking up, she can back off and sit behind them and hopefully finish a little bit. So I think second start back, it's a really nice spot for her. I went 5-4-8. tried to get a little crazy with a long shot in the bottom there of the exotics. But the important part is you, whoever you play, however you play them. We wish you the best of luck.